First of all, don't start too late. If you have a book, you know, unless you have a publisher who has established a date for you, you can set your own publication date. So what a lot of people do is once they've written the bulk of their manuscript, and let's assume that they've had it professionally edited and so forth, they start getting antsy. You've been working on your book for 6 months or 2 years or 12 years, and all of a sudden you're on the home stretch, and you really want to get there. You want to get your book out there, okay? Out there is really a great term because it's something that we could discuss for hours. But what happens then is they start getting antsy and they start cutting corners. So one thing they do is, let's say maybe they've had their book professionally proofread, edited and proofread, but then they're going to add material. They might add a chapter, they might add an index, they might add photos with captions, they might add some additional front matter. Maybe the proofreader hasn't seen the front cover or the spine or the back cover, and therefore the book ends up going to print with mistakes in it. Okay, that's one thing to avoid when you start getting antsy. Another thing is, it's never too early really to start thinking about your PR campaign, publicity, and your visibility. So one of the things that everyone has to do is start working on a platform. And it's kind of interesting, you know, for all my career I've worked with actors, well not recently, but you know, when an actor is in a movie or play, especially a play, they all make postcards and they would all have their mailing list and you get a postcard. I still get postcards from theaters and actors. They still do beautiful postcards. You know, that's part of the platform. You know, and your platform is really bigger than you think it is. You know, and now we have an idea because we can see how many Facebook friends we have and how many LinkedIn friends we have and, you know, and how many people are in our address book. But that's part of your platform. And so you really have to start nurturing and generating that platform, whether it's writing a blog to start getting people, and then, you know, you can always say at the end, you know, Jane Smith is the author of the forthcoming book X, so you start getting expectations about it. And then if you have even the glimmer of getting a trade review in the book trades, like Publishers Weekly, Library Journal, and what's the one I keep forgetting, and Forward, and Kirkus, okay, that's enough. If you want to get any of those, you have to submit to them months ahead. Now what happens for all of us who work in PR, when you want to send something to certain publications, let's even say Los Angeles Magazine, it used to be 6 months, 6 weeks ahead. You want to send something in the middle of October for the December issue. Okay? Now, because what has happened with the internet, and this has been, I don't know, maybe 20 years, they say that it levels the playing field. But what used to happen is the playing field was not crowded. So if you had a good pitch, if you had a good client, and you were on deadline, you had a pretty good chance of getting it noticed and maybe getting it to happen. So I'm not going to say it's easier, but I'm saying that it was not as crowded a playing field. And so, you know, when you had 10,000 books published a year and you've got a book that you're promoting, it's a lot easier to get the attention of a media person who gets, you know, 20 letters a week compared to a media person today who's getting 200 emails a day. So how do you get that person's attention? If you just picture a football field that's got 20 people on it, or you picture a football field that has 2,000 people on it, you see where it's a little bit hard. It's almost the same thing when you meet somebody who's grown up in a family of 6 or 8 kids. You know, they either become a real mousy person or they're really out there because they have to find a way to get noticed. So the reason the deadlines keep getting longer is because there are more people, you know, applying for space in all of these media places. So instead of a 6-week deadline, now it's a 3-week deadline. So for the trade reviews, you know, you have to start thinking about them. I think it's 5 or 6 months ahead. And then it's only you have to send them a GALLIA or an ARC, an advanced reading copy. Then you have to again send the book when it's printed because they want to make sure that the book is actually coming out before they commit to a review. So, you know, you can't say, I'm publishing my book in a month and send it to Publishers Weekly and think you're going to have a prayer or a chance of getting a review. You can't do it. So those are the things. When you're publishing, when you're self-publishing, or you have a publisher, you know, a sort of hybrid publisher, even, you can set the publication date. It's arbitrary. So it doesn't have to, you know. And the hard part is because you really want to get it out there and you want to get it going. But you have to start doing the publicity early.